Why do you think it is that singers have a difficult time possibly figuring out how to act a part or create a character when a lot of times it can be very intuitive, as we've discovered?
I think sometimes the intuitive part is great, and it's usually for a lot of people there. But for some, as singers, every day we're pounding and being pounded the concentration of musical technique and those different aspects. So for us, it's hard to wrap our head around the acting portion and get that every day, and to feel that just come out and be actors or call ourselves actors or be able to act, because we're in this train of musicianship, and that's what we're trying to do.
So basically, in short, it's the concentration on the music aspect
Yes.
that, because it's so encompassing.
And it's so, I mean, singing is obviously an external thing, but the process of thinking about it and doing it correctly is a very internal thing.
Yes.
And so I think that takes you away from thinking about how you are actually appearing to the audience, because you're not thinking about that, you're thinking about how you're sounding and how you're feeling on the inside.
Yeah, musicians are very internal in that way. We're not always thinking with the external performance track on, whereas perhaps most actors do feel that way when they're trying to show the whole audience. When we're practicing, it's not practicing out here. It's practicing like, okay, like let me get this internal sound technique, and it sometimes to do that switch is a little bit difficult.
Gotcha.
It just doesn't, it's not something that comes naturally to me. You know,
Okay.
to have to emote something that is not related to something I've already experienced. So to just pull out a scene out of the middle of nowhere, I find very difficult and very impressive if you can do it.
Okay. And do you find in your singing, is it even more difficult, or?
Singing to me, singing an emotion is a lot easier than acting an emotion to me, because there's already a story for you to apply to.
Do you feel like that acting is at all a distraction to your, say, your singing technique?
Until I actually learn how to act properly, it kind of just makes me focus on something else, to where, I mean, if I know a song well enough, my vocals won't suffer from it. But if I'm trying to like kind of balance, keep a technique in place while trying to emote at the same time, it'll be a little fight between the two.
Okay.
But eventually, what comes out in the end is a good polished product.
All right. Good.
From the acting, from the communication part, because, oh, I didn't breathe right, or I'm getting tense, or there goes my larynx, it's rising again, which is why you have to practice and practice and practice and practice with the acting, so that you can still do all those nice vocal technique things, not just standing there blankly, but while looking enraged or whatever.
Do you feel like that there is enough attention put on the acting aspect of performing?
No.
Is it possible that because less attention is put on the acting element of performing, that you automatically, your first concern ends up being my technique in singing?
Because you're taught, it's drilled into your head over and over and over again. If you do this, if you keep your throat relaxed, if you raise your soft palate, you will sound good. And so much focus is put on that, and then at the last minute, your teacher, even if your teacher's a really good teacher, is going to be, oh, and you need to emote, but they don't tell you how to do that. They're just like, oh, and you need to act more, you need to be this character. Well, you've told me how to do the technique, and you didn't tell me how to do this other thing, and this other thing hasn't been mentioned up until now, so guess what? I'm going to stand here and rely on my technique and look really blank in front of the audience.
All right.
Or story
Good.
of my